All right, my man John Kim, first of class. Take that attendance, brother. Yo, can't imagine what's going to look like after 30 days. Each day we got another rep, another idea, another concept coming. We're more importantly going to take some actions. That's the important thing. Yesterday, what did we learn about yesterday? Yesterday, we learned what it costs to borrow money. It costs interest to borrow money, also known as more money. So every time you are entering into a relationship with a lendor and a lendee, somebody is seeing the opportunity cost, somebody is seeing the advantage, somebody is seeing something that is worth charging interest for. So appreciate the concept. What I was most excited about was yesterday, I had about 15 people reach out and say, hey, man, bought the book, getting in the class course, and I'm going to follow along. 30 days, I'm going to do one of the topics each and every day. So respect to those of you who are going to follow along. Today, our concept is going to be, what is the eighth wonder of the world? Fun little Google, fun session. Look up the other seven wonders of the world. Truly a magnificent. There's really two. There's the natural wonders of the world. There's the man-made wonders of the world. Both, interesting elements. Good YouTubes, good Googles. But make sure you check those out as you go forward. So we're going to we got 1201. We right on the money. So 301 where you are, 201, 101 is 1201 where we are. We are going to spend 15 minutes in finance today. I want to open up because I love to give people 2 or 3 minutes to jump on. Go ahead. The pyramids. John Kim says the pyramids, my favorite wonder of the world. I ain't mad at you. It's a amazing feat. So that's a man-made wonder of the world. I've never been there, but definitely something that's going to be on the bucket list. If you see this little cut below my eye, that's what happens when you mess with my 4-year-old daughter. We were wrestling and she beat me up. But yeah, so today we're going to give it 2 more minutes. Welcome a question in the comments. We're going to start with our finance. We're going to start with the money vehicle. And we're going to start with this concept of the eighth wonder of the world. So I got another minute or two. We're going to go through the formula. We're going to go through what it is and how possibly this one idea, this one thing could impact and change the trajectory of your life, because every person on this call, every person that tunes in has the one advantage of an investor that everybody seeks out. Everybody is looking for one thing. You have in abundance this one tool, this one advantage that every investor is going to be looking for. So as we get started, eighth wonder of the world today, concept. If I were to challenge you and say, hey, in a month, in 30 days, I will give you $5 million. 30 days, I will give you $5 million. Or in 31 days, I will give you the sum of a penny that doubles every day. So let me phrase that out. So I will give you a penny on day 1. I'll give you 2 pennies on day 2. Day 3 will be 4. Day 4 will be 8 pennies, 16 pennies, and continue on for those 31 days. The sum of the pennies. Why? $5 million versus a penny that is going to double. What is the secret? This is called the devil's dilemma. This is called the genie in the bottle. We presented in the course. One of my interns, my man Noah Brune, he created a game that is going to visually show you what the impact of the penny versus the $5 million. And that's really what we want to understand today. Why would anyone look at a penny and say, if I put this to work, if I make this go to work for me, if I make that penny my employee, then I can ultimately achieve much further, much more than that $5 million sum. So on day 1, when people look at $5 million, a lot of people are like, $5 million, take it, get out. And I'm not wrong. There's nothing wrong with that. It's kind of like good debt versus bad debt. People are like, I want to get out of debt on my house. I have no problems, no issues with you being debt free. But if you're debt free, you got a lot of dollars that you could have had working for you that went to a different reason and a different purpose. This penny, this $5 million dilemma, this question, which one do I want? Well, how do you see money? If somebody hands you money, you have just been given a gift. That is a tremendous cause. That is a tremendous thing. But if you look at it truly as something that is going to work for you, you will take that penny every day of the week, because once it goes to work for you, it creates its own employees. Once that one penny becomes two pennies, you've just created an employee. That's how you start thinking about money. You look at the game of Monopoly. The first time around the game of Monopoly, do you want some card? Do you want a chance card that says, hey, you've just won $200? It feels good. It looks good. It's nice to have cash. But what would you rather? Would you rather have bought a property, or would you have rather gotten that $200? Gen X says, celebs go broke 5 years after retirement. I own C 3.0, which you will get. Awesome. Love that. Not positive what that means, but appreciate you, Gen X. And you're absolutely right. Athletes, celebrities, people, money is not the answer. Money can solve a lot of problems. Money makes the world go round. But if you think I got $100,000 or $1 million check, that is going to be the solution, you are mistaken. Look at lottery winners. Look at first-round draft picks. Look at entertainers. Money without a plan is a problem. Money without a plan is a problem. So that's where we got to start understanding why people hand me $5 million, hand me $5, hand me a cent, and don't use it the right ways, because they look at it in the wrong lens. They don't see money as a vehicle. They don't see money as a verb, as an employee. That is exactly what our course and our class is all about. Again, for those of you who have messaged me and said, I got your book, I'm in the course, I'm going to do it one day a section for the 30 days of December, I applaud you. You are going to end 2020 not only with the possibility of a certification in financial literacy, but getting your finances in order. So many people wake up January 1st and say, hey, I'm going to start getting my money in order in 2021. The plan starts now. The plan starts today. So I put them together with entrepreneurs to build wealth and time as they need it. So Gen X says he connects celebrities with business owners. And why I love that exchange is he is looking at people and saying, as a celebrity, what do you have? You have a certain pizzazz to you that every business owner wants, because every company wants eyeballs and attraction. I tell NFL players, because I talk and work with a lot of NFL players and teams, as an educator, not as an advisor, I'm not looking for their money. Tips on buying a car, absolutely. Israel, we'll talk about that here 1 second. Give me 1 minute. So as I talk to NFL players, I always tell them in the off seasons, get an internship. You have that thing that everybody wants right now. But why you can get an internship is because you are exchanging your time, your sweat, your equity for experience, for knowledge. That knowledge is what prevents you truly from going broke down the line. And if you can diversify your skill sets while you're playing, you're going to land on a great platform. Israel asked about buying a car. So first question is going to be, are you looking to take out a loan? A lot of people are looking at it and saying, hey, I want to buy the car in cash. That's a whole different set of standards and goals. But it all begins with that. We talked about it a few days ago. I didn't miss too much, right? Nope. Jizzle on my dizzle. You good. You right here. We just start. So as I look at first buying a car, that's your goal. You just set a rich goal. I applaud you there. Did you write it down? Have you built the strategy and reverse engineered how to get there? So as I look at it, I want to buy a car in 6 months, 1 year, 2 years. What kind of car is it? You're visualizing it and you've written down your goal. You begin with a cash management strategy. We're going to talk about cash management systems, chapter 3, which will start on Monday. But as you look at a cash management system, how much of your paycheck or how much of your earnings is going to achieve that rich goal? Have you started to set a percentage? Have you started to structure your plan to go get it? Now, when you go and you start to talk to the person at the dealership, you have a set car in mind. They are there, no different than a waitress or a waiter or somebody at McDonald's. They're there to get you to spend more money than how did you start your CFP? Nathan, great question. I'll answer that one in 1 second, and then we're going to get to the eighth wonder of the world. This one ties in a little bit to the eighth wonder of the world, so I'll answer the CFP, Nathan, here in a sec. So buying that car, you ask. Yesterday, we understand I'm going to enter into a lendee and a lendor relationship. What is the interest rate? What is the interest rate on a car loan, auto loan that you will give me at the dealership? What bank do they talk to and work with? Turn it around, go to your credit union, your local bank, and ask them, what is the opportunity that you will give me? What is the value, that interest that we just talked about exchanging? So dialing in on interest rate, but I need you to remember this, no different than buying a car, buying versus renting. If you believe you want that car for over 5 years, I'm going to have that car for over 5 years, buy it. If you are the kind of person, nothing wrong with this kind of person. My brother is this kind of person who says every 2 years or so, I'm going to want a new set of wheels. Like there's cool new stuff coming out. I'm going to want to exchange it. That's where I would lean towards leasing or renting. Why? Because if you don't have that long-term mindset of ownership, it's not going to pay off to own over rent. So if you are the kind of person who says, this is my starter car, I'm not going to have this in the next, 5 years. Look at it that way and say, if I'm comfortable owning it for 5+ years, let's buy it. If I want to sit and exchange and increase cars every 2 or 3 years, rent or lease a car. And that's a tough one because a lot of people say renting and leasing is throwing money away. So Manav, do you think investing in an electric car would be better than a combustion car? Well, my other brother works for an electric car company. I think electric is the future. I think oil is a thing of the past. Whether it happens this year, next year, in 10 years, yes, I think electric is the way to go. The last thing I want to talk about buying a car is what I want to say is whatever type of car you get, you are now living that type of lifestyle. So if you go buy that Mercedes, BMW, sweet souped up car, no different than a young person buying a house. $1 million house leads to $1 million lifestyle. I buy an $80,000 car. It's going to cost $80,000 type of money to fix that car, to fill that car, to make that car fresh and fancy and nice. So remember that. And then always remember, don't buy a new car. Don't buy a new car. Buy a used car. Until you're there, buy a used car. There's no reason in the world to buy a brand new car. The moment you drive off a car lot, you have lost. A car is a depreciating asset. We'll talk about that more later on. But a depreciating asset, meaning the moment you drive off the car lot, your car just lost 15% of value. $100,000 car just went down to $85,000. By the time you get home, you can't sell that car for more than $85,000. So do not buy new, buy rented. With all the apps and the tools and the websites today, it is possible to do that. But what I want you to see today right now is this idea of the eighth wonder of the world. I'm going to have to flip my screen because I want to use the how do I flip camera? Oh, mirror mode. Boom. Look at that. Look at the kid's getting better, peoples. He's figuring this game out. So if I write on this now, it should be able to see it. So I want you to see right now the difference between simple and compound interest. So simple interest, if you gave me $10 and I was going to give you simple interest of 5%, $10, 5% each year, I'm going to get, let's call that $100. Make it even, round numbers. I'm going to give you $5, $5, $5, $5. Every year, simple, I'm going to give you that kind of interest. All right. That makes sense. That's easy. That's the simple side. Now we're going to take that same $100 and we're going to use compound interest. So 5%. So year one, you still get that $5. Year one is still that 5. But year two, now we're not on $100. We're on 105. And you're going to get that same 5%, which is going to be 5.25. This is the magic right there. You just made an extra quarter without doing a thing. That is the magic. Why? Because in year three, we not just have 105, now we have 110.25, and we're still going to get it by that same 5%. That is where we start to compound. We start to look at it, and you start to see the magician that Albert Einstein was looking at. And so why this is so neat, why this could be game-changing, why you as an investor have the greatest asset to you going right now is because I'm going to show you this mythical equation of the time value of money. Everybody hears that concept. We'll talk about inflation. We'll talk about other things. Time value of money is the future value, because we want the future value. You want to know what your number is. You want to know what your dream, your goal is, equals the present value, how much you put in. How much do you have? Do you have $100 today? Do you have $1,000? How much do you put in times 1 plus R? 1 plus R is just that mathematical piece of it. So look at that. R is going to be the interest rate that you get to the end. That is the secret of the wealthy in mathematical terms. But what I want you to see, this is the most important part, most important lesson of compound interest. What, and I'd love for you guys to answer, what do you think is the most important part of this equation? Is it how much you put in? Is it the return that you're actually getting? Or is it how long you put it in? The return you get, how much you put in, or the return you're at, or the number of years? Is this the same as the A equals PERT? Yes. Formula. Yes. Time. How long? Definitely. This number right here, N. This is why you as an investor have an advantage. Every investor, every billionaire, every person you talk to who is somebody who you look at and say, wow, they used this. Absolutely, they could have built something, but they all say, if I had what you have, if I had time on my side, I could go and I could duplicate this. I could double this. N, because it is an exponential piece of this equation. This is the time value of money. If you look at these N periods and you use it to your advantage, you will have a game-changing mindset. And that's what we're introducing. The chapter 2 question is, how does money create money? That penny or the 5 million? If you look at that penny and you say 20-year-olds have an advantage over this 40-year-old, even if I have more money, listen to what he's saying. I have more money. I have more present value, but you have an advantage because you have time. Right now is one of the most interesting moments in the world's history. You as a 20, as an 18, as a 16, as a 25, as a 30-year-old have an extreme advantage over everybody else in the world for 2 reasons. Number one, you are getting to see the world as it is evolving and changing in real time, and you have the skill sets to take advantage of it. That's what people don't. I feel bad for everybody who's missing out on school, missing out on events, missing out on sports. But from a professional perspective, this is the opportunity of a lifetime. If you're graduating college in May, you are entering into a work atmosphere equal to somebody who has been in a career for 20, 30 years. They've never handled this, and they need somebody with your eyes and your mindset to help them corral it. Then the other advantage is that time. Why is the market, which the market is staying up, but I will be the first. You want a hot take? The market's going to go down. It always does. The market will go down. The question is, do you now, after going through Money Vehicle, after beginning to understand these concepts, after seeing the 8th wonder of the world, after building your finances, understanding them, do you see the market decreasing as an opportunity for you? If you see money through a long-term time, if you see, hey, I can jump in when it's low and ride it for 30 years, that is the opportune. That is the advantage. But you got to understand the concepts. You got to see how this game works. One of the examples we use in the book are 2 friends. Again, I'm a storyteller. I love explaining these concepts of money through stories. I have 2 friends, Ricky and Susie. Ricky and Susie. Susie's a dreamer. Susie says her goal, her dream in life is to go play lead guitar and tour the country. All right. So Susie wants to go play guitar. Susie goes to work at the age of 25 and says, I don't get to go play guitar until I have enough saved to set me up. That is what Susie wants. Hold on a sec. Getting out my book because I want the exact numbers. Susie says, from the age of 25 to 35, I'm going to go work for the man. I'm going to go to a traditional job, dollar cost average. That's a great call, Parker Freeman. So I'm going to talk about dollar cost average here in a second. Susie goes to work at 25 and says, I'm going to save $5,000 for 10 years, totaling $50,000. From 25 to 35, she gets $5,000 a year saved. Ricky, on the other hand, Ricky's like, yo, in my 20s, bro, I got student loans. I got to go buy that cool car that our friend earlier asked about. I want to go do other things. Saving for my freedom, saving for the future. That's just not my game right now. Okay, so from 25 to 35, Ricky doesn't save anything. But at 35, Susie says, I'm going to go. I'm chasing my dream. I got 50 grand in the bank. I made 50,000 employees. Susie has 50,000 employees going to work for her. Ricky says, oh, snap. Susie's chasing her dream because she's got 50K going to work. I better start making that same investment. So he starts saving $5,000 a year from 35 all the way. He ain't heard about the future bucket. He don't know about the future bucket. I see you, Fogel. Zach Fogel, one of my buddies, also former student, now ambassador of Money Vehicle. This shows you that this thing is a movement. We're forming a community. Everybody on here is joining this movement, joining the community, making personal finances, making financial stability a thing of the future. Gen X, Gen Z, the next millennia is going to be different than the past because of this conversation, because you are going to take ownership of it. So Ricky says 35 to 65, I'll put in that same 5,000. He ends up saving 150,000, 3 times as much money as Susie. What happens at age 65? Susie's been out playing guitar. She's a guitarist. She doesn't make enough money to maybe save for the future. You know, she doesn't have that 401k. She doesn't know money vehicles, IRA, Roth accounts. She ends up with that $50,000 going to work for her. Ricky ends up with $150,000 going to work for him. At 65, who comes out ahead? Susie comes out with $562,000. Ricky comes out with $505,000. She beats him by $50,000, by the amount of money she saved. All of the rest of it was her employees going to create more employees. That is the power. I hate to hear people say the market investments is for the rich, for the wealthy. That is only good for them. So what stocks to buy in today's market? Tech to go even higher, getting gas, oil for the bounce. Dick Whitman, love the question. So how do I make my money go to work? This is a concept. I'm not going to give you stock choices on here. One, because I'm certified. I'm a certified financial planner. People giving advice on here, specific stocks, they have no certification, no degrees. Number 2, what I will guide you towards is concepts of index funds. You're looking at it. Can I go buy an index fund of technology stocks? Absolutely. Can I go buy an index of oil? Sure. If you believe over the long term, oil is going to be the play, or if you're just looking for the bounce back. Good example. Appreciate it, Dick. Good answer, actually. So looking at that, I say this. You want to make your money go to work for you, but you need to be able to understand what you are going to buy. Chapter 6, we're going to get deeper into investments, specifically where Money Vehicle wants to direct you to go buy. But as Zach understands, that lemonade stand, that's our story for chapter 6 on looking at stocks. How do stocks work? Which ones do I want to go buy? That is the power of this. So if you want to go buy and make your money go to work for you today, Mike Merck dropped 2 in there. Great tech index funds. Appreciate it, Mike. But you look at these dollars and you say, I want to go put them to work for me. This is the power of compounding. You do not need a bounce. You don't need this quick hit. You are not in this to be Babe Ruth. Babe Ruth hit home runs and he struck out. You need singles. You need doubles. You don't need 17%. You need 7%. Let me show you why, because I think this is important too. The rule of 72. The rule of 72. That pen's going out. The rule of 72 is one of the coolest concepts, and I showed it in a video yesterday without explaining it. I just showed it. The rule of 72 says if you take any interest return you get and divide it by 72, you're going to get how many years it takes your money to double. So how long to double? How long will it take my money to double? So I'm a young investor. I'm 18. Let's say I can go get 7%. I can go get a 7% return. That would be 72 divided by 7. It'd be about 10 years. 10 years, my money will double. So if I invest $1,000 at 18, I'll have $2,000 at 25. Oh, at 28. If I invest 10,000, I'll have 20,000. But what's crazy is another 10 years of 7%. Now your money is going to double again. So now I went from 18 to 28, my money doubled. 28 to 38, that sum doubles. 38 to 48, that sum doubles. That is why the penny outworks the 5 million. So if I can get what the S&P 500 has statistically shown over the last 100 years, a 10% return before fees, before taxes, trust me, we'll get into that now. 10%, 72 divided by 10 equals 7 years. So if you just invested into the S&P 500, the standard stock market of the United States, the 500 largest company, which you're like, hey, man, bro, but I want to go buy Tesla. Tesla just got into the S&P 500. It filters itself. So that is what is cool about indexing is they choose for you and they continually harvest it for you. So 10% is going to take 7 years. So if you look at that and you say, I got $5,000 at 18, at 25, I got 10 grand, at 32, I got 20 grand, at 39, I got 40 grand. And that is not including all the other dollars from the other years going to work for me. The rule of 72, take whatever interest rate, and this is why you don't need 10, 20, 30%. You don't need your money to double tomorrow. You need your money to continue to double over time. You're going to hear that again and again. Tomorrow, our concept is going to go to how long you actually see your money and how long you see dollars. So this idea of dollar cost averaging, we somebody brought that up, and I love this concept. It is a habit. You are making investing not a guess, not a gamble, but a habit. It says each week I'm going to put in $20. Each month I'm going to put in $1,000. Each year, I'm going to put in however much it works for your plan. Dollar cost average. Why? Because in March, I might have bought something at 50 that in April dropped to 30, but I just kept buying. In May, I bought. In June, I bought. It goes up and down. The price goes up and down, but your purchase, how much you bought this money for, is even. Dollar cost average. So if I bought it every month of the year for an entire 12-month process, my average cost is going to be different than what the actual cost is, and I will have bought it at a lower price point overall. Do you include dividends if applicable? Here's how I look at dividends. You are not investing for tomorrow. You are not investing for this year. There is something called a DRIP, dividend reinvestment plan. I use DRIP on every one of my funds, every one of them. Why? Because taxes and things like that, you're going to get taxed, but I want those dollars to go back to work for me. I'm not using you right now. That is not why you invest. You don't invest for now or even 5 years from now. If I'm going to buy a car in 3 years, I'm not investing for that. I'm investing for my freedom. I'm investing for 10, 20, 30 years down the road. So those dividends that get paid out, and a dividend is just the company saying, we made X number of dollars. We have a choice to give it back to the company, or we have a choice to give it to the owners. You as an owner, I am going to pay you a dividend. I'm going to, Mike Merck, send a present. Happy holidays. Love it. Appreciate you, brother. So I am going to give you a dividend, which is an income stream and a piece of our earnings. Here's the question. Why don't some companies give out dividends? Some companies have an exorbitant amount of money. Why don't they all? I got my run in. I got my shower in. Y'all know it's Saturday. But why doesn't Apple give out a dividend? Because some companies say, you know what's better than giving you that money in a dividend? We're going to give us that money, and we're going to go build the company even bigger. Yeah, that was a bad example. No earnings. Dick, appreciate you. Sorry about that. But the idea of why some companies don't give out dividends is exactly because they believe those dollars are better served not in making you happy, but in growing the company. So that is a concept we'll talk about closer into chapter 6, the difference between a growth and a value stock. But looking at it because of the money they spend improving the company makes the stock more valuable. Jizzle on my tizzle. Respect, bro. Everybody can read that one. The money they spend improving the company helps them grow it. Hey, man, you responded to my football comment about walking on. I'm looking to play fullback. Tips. Made a video for the 5 tips to be a fullback. I will also say I talked to 2 junior colleges yesterday. That is your opportunity. Y'all want to get to the collegiate level. You want to try to go pro. Junior colleges are an amazing resource and tool. So let me finish up by saying this. Compound interest, dollar cost averaging. Somebody earlier asked me about the CFP process. I started the CFP while playing in the NFL, partly out of fear because of that statistic, 80%, 72%, depending on blah, blah. Most athletes go broke. I was a no-name undrafted guy. I was never going to be a $10, $20 million guy. So I knew I needed to do it differently than everyone else. So I started studying for the CFP. I actually hid from my teammates and from the coaches that I was studying for the CFP. Certification in financial planning. If you are looking for a career, CFP is an interesting environment because the financial world is changing and it's getting more holistic. Jizzle says, Amazon made a deal with the U.S. government where if they reinvest all profit, they don't have to pay Fed taxes. So that is also interesting. There is a lot of different advantages and structures around owning a business. One of them is how you can control your tax liability. So yes, Amazon, as well as most corporations, are playing a game. How safe is Robinhood? Is it easy to get your money out if necessary? So is it easy to get your money out? Yes, it is still liquid to the extent that whatever you bought into is not down. You know, that's so how safe is Robinhood? I don't think the liquidity, I think the technology shuts down sometimes and people have concerns about that. But the risk in Robinhood is the money going to go and disappear? The risk is, do you know what you're doing on a daily active basis? I can show you tons of research that says active is not the way to generate your future wealth. Why? We'll talk about that more in the chapter 6. Small part in Coinbase. And here's what we're getting when we get to asset allocation, when we get to the bigger picture of a portfolio. I have no problem in cryptocurrencies. I have no problem in saying Amazon's continuing to double, or the net Shopify, or whatever. I just bought a CBD company, or I bought into this electric hybrid car. I like the idea of you trying to bet on what you believe in and what you know. Warren Buffett says, buy what you know. But it's got to be a percentage. You got to understand how it looks into your entirety of your portfolio. So I got some feedback. Robinhood is bad for fill prices, long-term investing. There shouldn't be issues. Okay, so that's a little bit more on that day-to-day aspect. Rookie to pro lesson for today. John Kim always keeping me in line. Appreciate you, bro. G-Man agreed on. So we're on time. So I'm going to say my story. Actually, you know what? I'll share it. So I promised yesterday a story, or 2 days ago, about Sean Payton. So Sean Payton, we got distracted on the Bounty Gate. I'm not going to talk about the Bounty Gate again. Go back, watch one of the lives from the other day. I did months of research on the COVID therapeutics and vaccines, and I put money where my mouth is on ticker AMP. Jizzle saying he did some research. He said he believed in it. I respect that. I personally can't validate it, but the Bounty Gate issue. So Sean Payton comes back from a year off. He was not allowed in the building, not allowed to talk to any of us. And for a year, he couldn't have any interaction with his football team. That was his team. So what he said was, as he came back, he stood at the front of the team, and he said, listen, when you go to prison, he considered himself going to prison. You go to the jail, you go to the gym, you go to the library, or you go insane. And he'd lost about 25 pounds. He said, I went to the gym. He became actually like a national spokesperson for CrossFit. And he looked good. He actually got a younger girl. Like he's doing all right. But what he said was, I can never replace it. I missed the purpose. I missed the process. I missed knowing where I was supposed to go and where I was supposed to be. That rookie to veteran lesson is going back to the rich goals, beginning to look at what we're going to discuss in chapter 3 around forming habits and routines. He missed the process. He missed knowing where he was supposed to go and supposed to be. As you look at the concept today, eighth wonder of the world, compound interest, will allow you to know exactly what the purpose is for every one of your dollars. Your money is a vehicle. It is a verb. It is supposed to work for you. So that is the mindset today. Where and how do we add value? Yesterday, I told you the story about showing people the name on my forehead. How do you add value? You use compound interest. Tomorrow, I'm going to share a longer story about a little thing. Possibly the biggest lesson I took away from the NFL was this big. Jizzle on my Tizzle did so much research on this, pretty legit. I made a lot of money on it. That's respect. If you haven't made money until you've sold, that's a clarification. So once you sell, you made the money. The winner today, here's the questions. Are you ready? Number 1, what would you take, a penny or the 5 million? Number 2, what is the eighth wonder of the world? And number 3, who won between Susie and Ricky? $5 million or penny? Penny, Manav. Let's see it. Penny, compound interest, and Ricky. JJ 1515. Mike Merck. I like it. Manav. We went with Ricky. Penny, interest, and Susie. Love it, love it, love it. All right. There we go. Who we got? I think it was JJ 15. JJ 15.15. Appreciate you. You get to choose, and obviously I get a follow coming. You get to choose $20, signed book, or access to the course. For those of you who are like, hey, this was pretty good, I'm going to come back tomorrow. Tomorrow, what time we got? You tell me what time. Let's go back to, what was it? 4 o'clock East, or 7 o'clock Eastern, 4 o'clock Pacific. Does that work for everybody tomorrow? 7 o'clock Eastern time. If you want to follow along, you can order the book on Amazon. You can get the course. Boom, course JJ15. Please, done. I'll shoot you a message after we follow. Works good. Appreciate it, Jizzle. 7 o'clock Eastern. I will see you all tomorrow. Respect. JJ, we got the course coming to you. Course is in the bio for anybody else who wants it. I can give, Cyber Monday is a code for 50% off. You'll get a $50 full-length financial literacy course, ends with a certification, and you're getting it on the discount because this week we've sold it to 5 different colleges for a lot more than $50. So check that stuff out in the bio. JJ15, thank you. I believe. Appreciate it. And we will see you tomorrow. Respect.